Stereo Azimuth here, and I'm going to be talking about my Pinecil soldering iron. I really like my Pinecil. I think everybody should have one. I think they're very cheap and very cool. So let's take a look at it right quick. So if you're into electronics and want to get to electronics, I think you can pick these up for like $25 or something like that. So they do not come with a power supply. However, I am using a USB-C power supply like for a laptop. Okay. You also have a barrel connector here that you can also use a power supply. It uses a variety of different power supplies. If you see here, if you look on the side, it says, 12 to 21 volts, 17 to 60 watts. Okay. So if you get a higher, wattage, power supply, then I think my laptop's power supply is probably like 60 watts or 55 watts or something like that. And, it works great with this. I keep the USB-C here. I keep it, at my desk, like plugged into my little solder station here. You can buy these little solder stations also like from Amazon. You can buy these directly from Pinecil or from Amazon. And there are like tons of videos about these particular irons because they're the same as like the TS100, which means that they are directly heated. They keep a constant temperature, and the temperature sensor and the heating element is all like contained in one unit. Okay. So it also has, because it is this like computer device, it does have like some motion detection. So when you put it down, it can cool down the tip. Once you pick it up, it can like raise the temperature. If it sits idle for so long, it'll like turn itself off or go into a standby mode. So right now it's sleeping. If I hit the plus button, it'll turn on, and it gives me the actual temperature that it is in Celsius. Now, this isn't in Fahrenheit. This isn't like 300 degrees Fahrenheit. This is Celsius. So, and then it's going to top off. I've got mine set pretty high because I was working on something. But I can set the temperature, like I usually keep it at 360 or maybe 365. But you can also do like a burst mode where you can hold plus and it'll ramp up for a couple seconds. It'll, kind of heat up really quickly, but then go back down to whatever that it's set to. It does a lot of cool things, and there's a lot more settings that you can do. Like I said, this isn't like a demonstration of the Pinecil. I'll put some links to some other demonstration videos of the Pinecil that you can get. I do like the fact that unlike the TS100, which USB-C is only used for like programming, this can actually power it from a USB power supply, which I use quite a lot. You can also interchange these tips. You can buy these tips. They're very, very cheap. You can buy a whole set of all different kinds of tips from big to small, and the whole set is like $25. Now, I have a Weller iron and, or not a Weller, excuse me. I have a Heiko. The Heiko iron, the tips themselves, like one tip might cost me like $12, right? But I can buy a set of 4 of these for like 20 or 25, which is fantastic. And, it may be all I need is if you're working on small stuff, you can buy all the small ones. If you're working on bigger stuff, you can buy bigger. $50, you can buy all of them. And then to turn it off, you just hit both buttons, and now it's going to ramp back down. So it's actually going to tell me the little thing here tells me that it's turning off. It's this little wrench, but then it's going to still tell me what the temperature is so that I don't, accidentally like go to touch it or something like that. Like if I needed to change the tip, I might go, oh, it's still like at, 200 degrees Celsius, which is not cool. So I find for small jobs or for most circuit boards or even cables, it can work really well. If you're working on bigger things where you need like a lot more heat, where there's a big ground plane where you need, just like a lot of, wattage to kind of, ramp down. It may not be, the best. I have had run into a couple of situations where I've had to get out my Heiko, but it's been very, very, very few. It's only like on like big circuit boards where there's like a big ground plane or something like that. But most of the time, this sits right here on my desk, ready to go anytime I need to use something, to solder something, and it works very, very well. And with it, constantly monitoring the temperature, it always works, really, really flawlessly, for those things. And like I said, for bigger jobs, may not be so much. Sometimes I have to ramp up the temperature, but for most things, it works really, really well, especially for the price. Now, you may say, well, I'd have to spend this much buying a Heiko, and I'd have to buy like a power supply. If you have a power supply that's just like laying around from an old laptop or something like that, then you can just use it right away. Like, oh, this laptop I'm not using anymore, I have this power supply, I can plug it right in. You can even change the barrel connector out, for this barrel connector if it doesn't fit. Like you say, you have a Toshiba power supply or something like that, and it works. It works really, really well, and very, very portable. And it's small. It's a lot, and like I said, it's very much like the TS100. So if you like the TS100, it's pretty much the same thing. The only really difference between it and the TS100 is that you can use the USB-C to power the actual unit and not just like use the software. So like I said, I'll post a couple more videos in more detail about it that really goes through all the little things about it. But it's one of those things that I think that if you're getting into electronics and you want to start, maybe I want to make my own cables, or maybe I'll want to do my own thing, maybe work on some circuits or change some stuff out, or build your own stuff, then it's a good place to start with, your first soldering iron. And I mean, this is my probably third soldering iron, and it's the one that I use pretty much most of the time. It's a very great everyday soldering iron, really. So there you go. So hopefully that will help out some people. And, if you have any comments or have anything to say about either like the TS100 or like the Pinecil, if you have one, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. And, once again, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later.